In this video, I want to share with you my unique sales approach that I recently taught to a client of mine who's now closing at 80% to cold leads, and how you can use these sales tactics and techniques to dramatically increase your closing percentages, the success rate of you getting a yes on the phone, and increasing the bottom line for your business. But first, if you're new here, my name's John, husband, father, entrepreneur, and founder of AdClients.com. And over the past 10 years, I have launched and scaled multiple businesses that have collectively done over $30 million online. And I've done that without having to sacrifice my personal life, hustle 24/7, or stop doing the things that I love. And now on the channel, I teach other people how to do the same. So the first thing I want to do in the video today is share with you the wrong way to do sales. And if you sell courses, coaching, services, or consulting, or something like that, you are likely falling victim to this terrible advice that's floating out there online, and it's likely the reason why you're not successfully closing clients. I then want to share with you the solution that I found and perfected that's working like a dream, and then I want to share with you some specific tactics and strategies within it. So first, let me give you access to this. This is 4 years in the making. It's called the Push and the Pull script. It's a 2-part sales process, and I basically tell you exactly what to say and do on the phone every step of the way in your sales process to turn a no into a yes, to turn a cold prospect into a ready to buy hot client. This has been incredible for my business to make sure that we are speaking to great prospects, having great conversations that don't feel salesy. In fact, the prospect loves the conversation, and finally has the prospect at the end of the phone call actually throwing themselves at you and chasing you because they want your services so much, right? It's incredible. It's my free gift to you, and we're going to be talking about some of this stuff as we go through the video today. So click the link that's in the description box or scan the QR code on the screen, get access to this, and you can even follow along as I'm talking to you today. So let's first talk about the big problem with sales at the moment, okay? There are two. Number one is everyone seems to try to shoehorn their business into this one call close. So the idea is that you launch a VSL or you launch a webinar or some other sales process, you drive people to book a call with you, and on that phone call, it's one and done. You're having one conversation, and you're gonna get out the sales rule book, and you're gonna try every trick in the book to get that prospect to say yes, even if they're not sure, if they want to think about it, they want to go away and speak to someone, we're still going to shackle them to that one conversation. And what ends up happening is you lose rapport. You start to come across as desperate. You've also shown your hand that you want them as a client, and now they're the ones in control, really, to say yes or say no. And so the more you dig in and use all of this sales weird manipulation stuff, you're actually digging yourself a grave for the sale, and you're not gonna land it. So that's the first issue. But the second issue is that the bulk of the sales training that I see online has a very aggressive tone to it, has this air of manipulation around it. It feels sticky and icky, and just, it doesn't work for me. I don't want to have a sales conversation where I'm on the phone feeling like I'm not having an organic, natural conversation. I'm not able to just be myself and enjoy the conversation. I'm so focused on, if the prospect says this, then I'm to say that. And if they follow up with this, then I say that. And even if I successfully land a sale, which I typically wouldn't with a one call close, as I'm sure you don't, even if we did, we're not even sure if that client really wanted it, right? They certainly weren't jumping for joy and desperate to throw their credit card at you. You were the one coming across as desperate. So these two things together just was not working for me. And I was having this very conversation with a friend of mine, Rich Sheffron, not too long ago, and we were talking on Zoom for his audience, and we were teaching them this stuff. And I used this example. Rich is a perfect example of someone who has come up with a concept that no one else is really using yet, that is in some ways unproven, but he just has a gut feeling that it's going to work. He has been a pioneer for many of these marketing and sales strategies. I had one of those moments where I thought, I hate the way sales is done right now. There must be a better way. I had an idea for what is now the push and pull script, but back then was just an idea in my head, and I just felt good about it. And everyone that I shared it with was saying that's not going to work, that I should go back to the one call close. It seemed to break every rule in the sales rule book, but I just had this gut feeling that I couldn't shake, and I was so confident it was going to work. And so I blocked out all of the noise, I put my head down, and I focused on creating this. So what exactly is this? One of the biggest sales objections that you are going to get on the phone is, let me think about it. Even if a prospect is interested, even if they like what you've got, They don't want to feel on the back foot. They don't want to be made to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to be pressured into the sale. And so it's almost a given on every conversation. I'm sure you've had it, right? If you're watching this right now, let me think about it. Can we talk again in the next few days? Or let me think about it. Send me some information in an email. So I had this idea. What if we could reverse that process? What if it's me that is the one that gets to think about it? I'm speaking to a prospect, but because of the way that I've positioned myself and my business and this sales process, I'm actually the one that decides if we're going to move forward or not. That would put me in a very good position, would allow me to genuinely leave the call, have a think about it, and decide if I want to work with that person. Because just as much as we should be trying to enroll people to help them make the best decision for them, we should also be very conscious that we're bringing in the right people for us. We don't want to bring someone into our program that's not right, that's not going to get the result that we're shooting for, or is going to be a troublemaker and make your life really difficult. So I actually want to go away and have a think. So as I developed this thought, I was thinking, can we make it something of an application process where they get to apply to be a part of my program? And so these thoughts started to evolve. And where I landed is the idea of having 2 conversations. No surprises there. I don't like the one call close. What I want is 2 conversations. The first conversation is the push call. And you've got this now if you accessed it below. And I literally tell you everything that you need to do on that first conversation for this to work perfectly. So this is going to walk you through the 10-part strategy on that first conversation. But let me just share with you the overarching idea with this first call is that when we start that conversation, we make it very clear in the beginning. You'll see it on your framework. It's called the reverse frame. And we make it very clear that we are not going to be offering them something on this conversation. And that will be a bit of a surprise to them. Right, so we would say something along the lines of, hey James, really looking forward to diving in today. Just want to give you a heads up that nothing's on offer today. Even if we hit it off, I'm not going to be inviting you into one of my programs so you can keep your credit card in your pockets. That sound good? James, the prospect, is likely going to say, yeah, that sounds great. In his mind, he's thinking, this sounds really refreshing. I like the sound of that. But he's also wondering whether you're lying. He's also wondering if this is a bait and switch. So we double down on it. So we say, so even if at the end of the conversation today, I really like you, you really like me, you want to work with me, listen, we'll still have a chance for you to go away and have a think, I'll go away and have a think, and we'll reconvene later on down the track. Sound good? Sounds good. Awesome. That's how you frame the conversation. Now, how does this work? Because we do want to enroll James if he's a good fit. We do still want to land the sale. Well, it moves to this part here. We've got a few different things that we do in the call, and this is, for many of these things, standard sales procedures, although you'll learn more about it on the framework, the detective, pain amplification, create doubt, wrap it up, the roadmap. This is the key I want to focus on right now, because this is the part that works with the reverse frame. It's called the push pitch. So what we do is towards the end of the conversation, we've had a great chat, we feel we can help them, they like the sound of you and what you've got going on, and the conversation naturally moves to, well, what do you have on offer? What is your program? How much is your program? They will oftentimes, 9 times out of 10, ask you about your program. At that point, you do the push pitch. That's why it's called the push script. You do the push pitch, where we're going to pitch our product, but at the same time, we're pushing them away from it and we're not allowing them to buy it. So we would say something like this: James, look, I've really enjoyed our conversation and I appreciate your interest in working with me. As I mentioned at the beginning of the call, I'm not going to offer you anything today. And in fact, I can't, because the way and then you insert whatever is true for you. What's true for me is that I share every conversation I have and my sales team have with my leadership team. And we decide together who we like the sound of, and we invite some people in and then we don't invite others. So I'd say, so at the end of our call today, I want to share my notes with my team, and at the end of the week, we'll decide who we want to work with. But I'm very happy to run you through my offer, what's included, how much it is, so that you've got all the details. And of course, I'll go away and have a think, and that gives you a chance to think as well. Hopefully you can start to see the power in this, because I'm very relaxed. I'm not desperate for the sale. And in fact, the more that I lean out, the more the prospect actually leans in. But it's all ethical, and it's all happening for a really good reason. because you want the prospect to not feel pressured into a sale. So I want them to be able to go away and have a think, but I want them to have a think not with the feeling of I'm guaranteed a spot now, do I want it? I want them to have a think about whether they want it and whether they're even going to be accepted. And so if they say, yeah, that sounds good, then I can sell my heart out. I can say, great, well then let me tell you everything about it, so you've got all the details, and we'll go away and have a think. And I can tell them everything about my program, I can make it sound incredible, I can tell them every single part of what's included, and now they're even clued up on the price. But I'm pushing them away. There's a few more pieces to this, and of course you can get it below. But as you can imagine, the outcome of this conversation is booking a follow-up, maybe a couple of days later. So how does this pull script come into play? How do we actually get the sale? Well, the idea is that we've changed the game. We've flipped it. Instead of us on the back foot, waiting to hear back from a prospect to see if they've changed their mind once they've thought about it, now the prospect is excited about the conversation that we've just had. They don't feel any pressure, but they feel a huge amount of desire for the offer. I get to genuinely go away, speak to my team, decide who we want to work with. Believe it or not, we actually turn people away. People think this is all just sales malarkey. It's actually not. When you get to a place that we're in right now, which is quite a luxurious place, we have more people wanting to work with us than we have space available. So we go away, we have a think, we chat to the team, and we actually turn people away, and they're shocked. They're surprised, but we say, look, thanks so much for that conversation back on Wednesday, really enjoyed it. Right now, it's probably not a goer for this reason, and this reason, but maybe let's check in with each other again later down the track. They can't believe we're even saying no. So it gives us a chance to do that. Have a chat with the team. You could have a chat with your team. But at the same time, the prospect is thinking, man, I like the sound of this. I'm wanting this. Rather than feeling pressured and all this kind of stuff, now they're actually desiring this thing. In fact, in many cases, they're willing and hoping that they will be invited in on that second call. Introducing the pull script, because now, much like the first one, I tell you what you need to say and do on the call to land the close, but in essence, what we're doing is this. Jump on that second call. If we like the sound of the prospect, we might do a bit of a recap of how the first conversation went. We might check in and make sure that they're still feeling the same, right? That they're still interested. And then we make the invitation, but we do it on that second conversation. So we say, James, look, I so enjoyed our first chat. I was chatting with the team. You know, it all sounds great. We think we can really help you. We're feeling confident in our ability to do so. So I've got good news. I'd love to offer you a place in the program. How would you like to pay? And we're able to just move straight to what we call an assumed close, because on the first call, they told us they wanted it if they were accepted. Now they're being accepted, we're offering them a place. There might be a little bit of objection handling still left to do. They may still have some questions or some concerns that we can work through, but it's coming from a much better place. The conversations are enjoyable. This process is really, really reliable and works really, really well. And I don't know, I feel great delivering this. My team feel great delivering this, and we're closing at a much higher rate overall than we ever have before. And by the way, I've got another resource for you in case it's helpful. This is called the 12-point conversion checklist. And this is basically 12 things that you need to say and do on that first conversation to make sure that you've nailed it and you've hit on every point. Because it's one thing having a framework, it's another thing making sure you've done all of the steps. Some of these are on there, some of them aren't. They're specific things that you need to say on the call. So again, link in the description box or a QR code popping up. Let us know where to send that. We'll get it straight over to you, my free gift to you. Now here's a bonus tip, and this is a big one. Understanding how to sell well on the phone is one thing. But a second thing is, where are those leads coming from? Are they already qualified and want to buy your product, or are they cold as ice? We don't want cold as ice leads, we want qualified, warm leads ready to buy. So how do we get them? Well, I've tried a myriad of different sales funnels and marketing approaches, and the thing that hands down has worked the best for me is a webinar funnel. And I've got a great example right here. If you check out this video, I'll walk you through the best webinar funnel that I have found to get me high quality calls on my calendar that are ready to close if they're the right fit. Hope this was helpful for you. Go check that video out, and I'll see you in a future one.